Hey there, you are very welcome to the Habit Boss YouTube channel. And if you're listening on the podcast, hello, hello, hello. You can't see me waving. I don't know why I did that. It's Linda Manning here. Yes, I am the Habit Boss. And yes, I am on part two of your finding out the real me with ADHD. And I don't even think I called that in the last one. We'll figure out a name. Basically, these are the things that I discovered about me once I had the inkling I had ADHD, once I had the diagnosis, and once I went on medication, actually. Um, so, yeah. And I'm going to pause the video there because I have just realized I haven't taken my meds today. This is things that happen. So, pause, reality check. For anybody wondering, I am on 20 megs of Tyvans and I take a vitamin D and a vitamin C as well. Tyvans because I wanted focus all at once. So I wanted kind of 4 hours focus to get shit done. And I don't take it till usually around maybe 10:30 in the morning. It's a little bit later than that now, but I usually don't take it because I go to a class early. I get a walk in, I get my day started, and I'm kind of very, very busy. So I get a bit of natural dopamine from that. So I don't take it first thing. I want that focus for kind of the hours when my kids are at school. So yeah, that's another thing. Okay, so as I said, these 10 things are things that I discovered about me pre and post diagnosis. The second thing that we're going to talk about is hobbies. 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 Um, yeah, we have a lot of hobbies. We have a lot of things that, or then we don't have a lot of hobbies because we can't remember what we like. I actually have a list of things that I like to do, and I add to that list if something brings me joy because I do forget what I like when I have a free day. So I actually sometimes have to plan um spontaneous things because if I didn't, I might just doom scroll for like 12 hours in bed. Um, so hobbies, it's probably more impulsive rather than creating hobbies. Impulsive buys because you think you're going to do something. Um, I so I had an abundance of part-time jobs when I was a kid. Um, corporate, I stuck to the same role within corporate, and then when I finished in corporate, I had already kind of thought to myself, what's the quickest change I can make and what can so I trained to be a PT and then I trained to be a Pilates teacher and opened my own Pilates school and I it like this was just a dream. It was so good. Even through COVID, I was online. It was amazing. And um I realized that it was probably just a hobby that I was teaching people. And I kind of lost my graw for it. And I realized that I wanted to be helping people, you know, with their well-being, but outside of a Pilates class, outside of how much weight am I going to lose doing Pilates? I'm like, nothing, because you're only, building up your strength and building up your core. If you want to lose weight, we're going to have to look at what's happening in the kitchen. And, that was something I really didn't want to get into because I am a qualified sports nutritionist, but not a qualified nutritionist. So I just kind of found that it wasn't. And I think that's what happens with people with ADHD is that, when things don't align with our values and our authenticity, we find it very difficult to um sell and to market because if it doesn't align to how we feel or how we want the world to be, it can be a bit weird. And that's and be completely honest with you, that's why I'm very comfortable talking about this. And I do have products that I create for everybody, for neurodivergent and for neurotypicals. But sometimes I feel like a bit of a fraud selling to neurotypicals because I don't understand, but I have their brain works, but actually I have plenty of products that they can use a hell of a lot easier than I can use, because it's just second nature um to people. I digress again. So hobbies. Um so I did a lot of equipment from my Pilates because obviously I bought every single piece of equipment that you would ever need for like 10 to 15 students. And then maybe we used it one week and that was the end of it. I have a bench for doing weights that clothes sit on now. I have an ice bath blow up thing that is out in the back garden that I haven't used for like about 8 months because I'd rather go out and use the sauna and a plunge pool in another facility and get myself out of the house because that's what the routine is about for me. And as well as that, I immerse my face into a bowl of ice cold water most mornings. So sometimes the ice bath isn't about that for me. So that's another thing. Um, and what I've found is that now that's going back, I think, about a year and a half ago that I have that. Um, what I think in the last kind of 2 years, especially with hobbies, is that I've kind of really had to assess the whole do I need it? About 5 or 6 years ago, I started looking at my clothes, especially as far as sustainability is concerned. Um, I very rarely buy new for me. If it has to really sing a story to me to buy new clothes. It really has to kind of be like, this is going to make all the difference in your world and you're going to wear it like, 50 million times. That's when I buy new clothes. Um, I like to buy vintage. I get stuff out of a bag from a relation. I can rewear stuff. I find different uses for different things. If I buy a present, I'm always looking at, well, if it comes, if it's a candle, does it come in a nice like glass jar that can be used as a jewelry box? That's kind of, I suppose is that another hobby as well? But it's really assessed my do I need it? And I think as well with hobbies, it's kind of combined with the impulsivity of it all because if you talk to an ADHD person and they're going on holidays, they have, if they even think about the holiday, they have it booked within like half an hour. And that's the huge part for me is that understanding that it's the impulsivity is feeding your dopamine, it's feeding your excitement, it's feeding, and hit and purchase is feeding that as well. So really and truly, it's assessing, and that's huge. It's huge to sit back for a couple of days and go, are you really going to learn to crochet when you have to drive kids around 4 nights a week? Are you really going to listen to those audiobooks? And do you really warrant the Audible subscription? Are you really going to get the most out of that book that you bought? I use the library because I have books that I've bought and I get a great buzz from buying the book and then I never read the book. Very honest. Um, so yeah, I use the library now. I don't tend to buy books because I have just found that sometimes it's about the dopamine hit at the till and about how you feel. Oh yeah, I'm going to change my life. Um, I stopped buying a lot of stationery. Um, even stepping away from free writing pads at events because like what is it adding to my life? It's not going to change. It's not going to change my no dopamine mornings. It's not going to change my hyper focus. It's not going to change my restlessness. It's not going to, you know, really and truly, it is about discovering what has worked for me. Um, and what works for me is understanding what I have to do at the start of the week, as far as like stationery is concerned, understanding what I have to do at the start of the week, putting it all down on paper and seeing where it ties in around my day, but also being very, very aware of what time of the month is it. I'm currently heading into my luteal phase. So that's the 2 weeks. So probably around looking at day, actually I'm on day 14. So I'll probably ovulate over the next couple of days, then head into my luteal phase for 2 weeks. And my luteal phase kind of starts out very well and then it'll decline because my energy levels will decrease. And I always know that this week in the month I'll get 4 classes done. And it's probably the only week that I'll get 4 classes done. Maybe last week. I did actually get 4 classes in last week, but there might be 2 weeks in the month where I'll get 4 classes. And then there's a week in the month where I'll get 3 and a week in the month where I'll get 2. And if it's a 5 week month, there'll be 2 3s and 1 2. And it's been very, very aware of that and very, very aware of your energy. And I suppose that's a hobby in itself, going to an exercise class and seeing people and talking to people at kind of 6 o'clock in the morning and getting a walk in. Um, and it's really understanding that the hobby, is it long term or is it a flash in the pan, which a lot of things are. And understanding that I don't have to spend X amount of money on something because that's not the hobby. Spending the money on the hobby produce is not the hobby. And I think that's what happens as well, is that you buy the new running gloves that are going to help, or you buy the boxing gloves because you're going to buy a, you know, something, pads and, well, yeah, I like, you know what I'm talking about, that we buy so much and then it's like, oh, we use them 2 or 3 times. So it's moving away from the buying and asking yourself the question, do you need it? And it's really slowing down in the process, slowing down in the moment of, I found something new. This is going to change my life. And really looking back. And I think reflection is so huge here. It's so huge. Did it change your life previously? No. Well, then think about it. And then if you are really interested in a hobby and really interested in a topic and really want to go there, do it gradually. Buy something gradually towards it, or that subscription. Wait a couple of days and see whether it was the dopamine seeking behavior or you're actually interested in the new hobby. Because I really think that if we sat down and listed the items that we have in our house that we haven't used or we've used once or twice, it's probably quite big. The other thing, the other flip side of the coin is our innate need to, not be very, or I'm actually saying that wrong. The other flip side is the disorganization. And it's only since I've been on meds since January that I have kind of transformed into this person that I always wanted to be, the person that had a place for everything in their house and had a place for everything. And I'm I'm becoming that person. I'm quite proud I'm becoming that person, but I'm finding that things, items, live places. But previous to that, if something was out of place, like I do have doom piles still. I do have doom piles, but how many of us have not found a place for something and fucked it in the bin? Let's think about that because I do that. I still do that. And that's, probably goes against the whole sustainability thing that I'm preaching about as well. But I can't find the other. I'm currently, I have been currently kind of assessing like my wardrobe and stuff like that. And I'm sure I have one um welly boot in the car and one here. And I refuse to throw the one away because I didn't throw the other one away. So I know that the two are here somewhere. But yeah, there are scenarios where I've thrown things in the bin because I just couldn't find a place for them. And that can happen with the hobby stuff as well. So around the houses again a little bit. But number two, hobbies, hobbies, hobbies. Find something that you love. I just love to hear that. I love it. But do you really love it? And do you really need to spend 500 quid on the hobby before you've actually gotten into it? And do you really ask yourself the set of questions? Am I dopamine seeking? Am I feeling low? Is it really something that I am going to do every week, twice a week, once a month, depending on what it is? Ask yourself the vital questions. Am I going to embrace this, or is it simply making up for something else that I haven't got in my life? As always, I have plenty of resources in the notes, so please do take advantage of them. There's some habit trackers there. There is a lot about balance. I want people just to create that little bit of balance in their life. We won't talk about consistency. We won't talk about um we won't talk about hustle. We'll just talk about being and living and pushing towards finding a little bit of joy in each and every day. Please like, subscribe, and throw a comment in. And if there's anything better I could be doing, I'd love to hear that too. Take care, and I'll see you soon.